Houston, we have liftoff. So welcome home, everybody. Welcome to Cafe Church. As Eileen said earlier, if this is your first time here, we're really delighted to have you with us. We have free coffee, tea, and hot chocolate on. And after the service, we have chili, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Chili on. We try to do that every Sunday. Try to have a meal on here so everyone can hang out and have some good food, some warm food. If you can stay around and join us, we'd love to have you do that. So we are doing a series, an Advent series. This is the 4th week of it. Each week we do a little bit of a recap. So if you did miss a few weeks or this is your first time here, don't worry, you should get caught up pretty fast. We love the interaction, so there'll be lots of opportunities for you to participate. You don't have to do it if you don't want, but please feel free to jump in and offer your perspective on whatever the issue is we're talking about. We like to keep it kind of laid back here. So today we're going to look at the 4th talk, and it's the issue of celebration. So we looked at anticipation, which is kind of an emotional excitement about something that's going to happen, or you think is going to happen. We looked at preparation, which are specific things you do to get ready for that thing. Last week, Mike looked at participation, so what you're doing when it's happening. And this week, we're going to look at celebration, which is sort of more rejoicing in what you're actually doing. So that's what this theme is for today. Now, we always have a review time here at Cafe, so we are going to do a review. Then I'm going to talk about what celebration is. We're going to look at a biblical perspective of it based on a Christmas story. And then I have a dig deeper and challenge time. So that's how we're going to do that today.
How deep are we going to dig?
It's as far as you want to go, brother. Okay? You know how we do it, right? So, we'll start with, what is Advent? Anybody remember?
Coming?
Yeah, coming. Very good, Sarah. Well done, yes.
Anticipation.
Anticipation, okay, so it's a period of anticipation. Yeah, Bill?
It's something to do with church weeks or something.
Very good. So the 4 Sundays before Christmas Day are generally marked with ceremonies and traditions. And does anyone know when these traditions date back to, at least that we know of?
I know that
Go ahead,
Advent has also to do with a calendar.
Yeah, you can have calendars. That's one of the traditions.
chocolates.
Michael, yep, very good. Yep, yeah, Advent calendar.
No.
Around 450 AD, yeah. So it's been around for like 1,500 years. It's one of the longer celebrations or traditions
Now,
in the
isn't
church.
one of the things for Christmas is like candles or something?
It is, yeah, which we have over here. You can see there's like an earthquake or something happened earlier, so the candles are in a bit of disarray. And I think
That
it comes
was
from
his fault.
Chris, what were you doing with those candles, man?
doing
Get that,
it.
yeah, so each week you light a candle. Then on the last Sunday you also light the center candle, which is often called the Christ candle. So there's actually 5 candles typically in an Advent wreath. So we haven't really been doing the whole candle lighting thing very well. Some of them might get dead batteries. Anyway, it's over there. Okay, I think it's another one of those
And
traditions.
honey,
Yeah.
today Ideen hip checked it and they all fell over.
Oh, wait,
Oh,
no,
what
wait.
happened?
Yeah, okay. So some people don't like Advent and they show their displeasure. Look at that, Mike got one going.
What's the Persian?
It's exciting.
We're on the
Okay, you just found a broken one. Okay, we're going to carry on. So that's what Advent is. Okay, so what did Mike look at last week?
I don't know.
Anybody want to give it a crack? What was Mike looking at last week? No. Participation? Yes? Remember the nice story he told about himself? Kind of romantic.
Or was it? You get romantic
The
stuff,
race.
right?
It was great. About skating, the
Yeah.
triathlon.
Hang on. I had a picture of it. No, I lost it. Darn it.
Preparation.
I had a great picture of a guy stuck in a snowbank, which kind of reminded me of Mike's story. The trials and tribulations of...
They got to spend time with each other.
Yes, they did. And why did he do it?
To impress her.
To impress her. Absolutely. Yes, he did. It was a great story. Very romantic. Okay. Yes. What were some of the scripture references we looked at last week? Anybody remember? Who was the main character Mike talked about? There was one guy. John the Baptist. Who said that? Yeah, Paul, well done. Thank you. Very
Does
good.
he get chocolates?
Okay.
There is chocolate, actually, yeah.
So this passage, Luke 3, 7, and 14, is a passage about John. It talks about him going around and preaching and witnessing and preparing people for when Christ, his cousin, was going to come, right? Because they're cousins, right? And one of the main points Mike made was that you produce fruit that shows you've changed your hearts and lives. A part of participating in this experience of being with God, that is God with us, Emmanuel, as we read about in Isaiah 3 weeks ago, is that if God is truly in you, you expect to see some evidence, right? It's like, let's say you buy one of the nicest cars in the world, a Lamborghini or something, right? And you want to drive it around, you got to put gas in it. It's not going to run. It won't make any noise. You can't pass people. You can't turn the CD player on. Like, there's got to be some gas in it, right? So, gas in us. There needs to be gas in that car for it to function and do what that car is supposed to do. And as humans, we need God in us to be able to do all the things that God intended us to do. So that's part of the participation, if you will, of the experience of God with us. So that was last week. And then Mike did a quick review of some of the ways we can participate in this relationship with God. He talked about the sevenfold way of following Jesus, which is part of the discipleship model for the Evangelical Missionary Church of Canada, which is the church that our church belongs to. These are 7 things you can do to enhance your relationship with God, or to be in relationship with God. We have little wallet-sized cards with this on it. If you'd like to take one, you're welcome to keep that. So that was last week. This week, we're going to talk about celebration. So, to kick things off. Oh, there's Mike there. Oh, I see. There he is. Mike, leg 2.
Really, that's you.
Amazing, great.
Pretty much that was,
That's how he felt anyways. I don't know if that's physically what he looked like, but that's what he felt like. Okay, so tell us about a time when you were really celebrating, not celebrated something. Yes, Mike.
Was when my sister got married this past September.
Oh, okay.
I celebrated the communion, like the celebration of her being together as a family.
Yep.
So it was a big celebration. We planned for a long time for it, and finally it happened, and we were so happy.
So how long was she engaged?
About a year. So she got engaged Christmas last year. So she was engaged for a full half a year before she got married.
And how long did she know her now?
About 5 years.
Wow, that's a long period of anticipation and preparation, leading to participation and celebration. What's that? Go ahead, Frank.
The baptism of my son.
Oh, cool, yeah, your baptism of any family member, yes.
Job.
Your job, absolutely, yeah. Yep. Peter.
my baby niece got born.
Oh, cool, yeah. Birth in a family, always an exciting time, right? As I'll be reminded of in a few weeks when my newest grandchild comes for another visit, 3 months old. So yes,
Oh.
3 months.
4 I guess now.
We had a great celebration when Holly got baptized.
Okay, yep.
When she got baptized, she started to suck on a bottle,
Okay. Wow.
where before she couldn't, and she was fed through a tube through her nose.
Wow,
That's
that's
amazing.
cool. What a cool story. Okay, anybody else? Time you really celebrated something.
When I was born,
Okay,
I was dead.
okay.
I got back twice.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow, that's worth celebrating. Luckily you're around to do it. Okay, Peter.
Thanks when I got married.
Okay, absolutely, yeah, marriage. Weddings are a time of great celebration, right?
It was a big surprise.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little story about the celebration time Anita and I had. So our celebration really was 3.5 years long. That was a long celebration, eh? We were posted to Australia with the military in November of 2002. And we ended up staying there until August of 2006. We were there for almost 4 years. And the place we were posted to was a place called Canberra, which is way down in the south end of Australia. It's in the Snowy Mountain region. Some of you may have seen the movie The Man from the Snowy River. It's set in that area.
So Australia has snow.
It does.
I thought it was all
Yes, it does. It snowed once while I was there. I was in my office, and a bunch of Australians ran down and said, Steve, look out the window, it's snowing! And I looked out, and the snow's coming down. As soon as it hits the ground, it disappears. I said, when you have to shovel it, come see me. And that was not snow. So, in Canberra, which is in a mountain range, there's a series of mountains through here, but when you look to the west of Canberra, you can see the mountain range, and in their winter, which is our summer, you can see the snow caps on it. And there's actually a ski resort not a couple hours from where we live. But for the most part, it was pretty good weather year-round, and we weren't very far from Sydney. That's Sydney, Australia, which most of you would be familiar with, or at least be aware of. It's about a 3-hour drive from Canberra to Sydney, and it's about 2 hours to the coast. We were beach people, and we love the beach. I had been asking for a posting to Australia for 20 years. And when I finally got it, my career manager called me and he said, "You're getting 1 year, that's it. Don't ask to stay on. There are no jobs for you after. Stop bugging me." Deal? I said, deal. I got there. Not long after I got there, God got to work, because he's really my career manager. And he arranged for me to get an 8-month extension, and then it turned into a 3.5-year posting. So I was laughing, you know. I said, "Oh yeah, only a year, yeah." So I had the right career manager, and it wasn't the guy in the uniform. Okay. So we ended up in Canberra. Now, Canberra is a beautiful town. It was designed by an American architect. So when they put the capital in Canberra way back in the early 1900s, they held a competition to design the layout of the city, because essentially Canberra was a sheep paddock. It was just a pasture, is all it was. So they built the original House of Parliament. There was always sheep grazing in front of it. It was very remote and isolated. It had to be far enough away from the ocean that it would not be threatened by naval invasion, and there were all these rules they had about where they put it. So it ended up in the middle of nowhere. And they custom designed the city, and the architect who designed it, the winning design, was an American guy named Burley Griffin. And part of his design was a series of circles. So you can see here, there's like triangles, there's a circle there, there's a circle here. This actually is the sort of centerpiece of the city. And then things kind of radiate like spokes out. Now, in subsequent years, they just dropped stuff wherever it would go. They didn't really follow Burley Griffin's original vision for the city. But it's a very symmetrical and beautiful city. And this lake is actually a man-made lake. What they did was they dammed up the Mirabidgee River, which is what this is, and they flooded this area and turned it into a man-made lake, which is quite beautiful. So, if you go here, okay, so that is their Parliament building. That was the big circle you saw. So I'm looking the other way now from north to south. This is a memorial walkway, and this is the Australian War Memorial, a very famous, iconic building in Canberra. This is Lake Burley Griffin, which is that man-made lake. And we used to live kind of over here, and then we moved kind of over there. We actually lived within a few kilometers of their Parliament building. It was pretty cool.
That's very beautiful.
Yeah.
This little triangle.
Okay, so what they did was, this is the original Parliament building here. It's an old 2-story building where the sheep would graze. They built their Parliament building into a hill, and they covered it with dirt. So it's like lawn all the way around it, and they have big like concerts and stuff on top of the Parliament building. It's pretty cool. Yeah, really, really cool place. So that's where we lived for 3.5 years. The reason I say we celebrated is we absolutely loved our time here. We loved the people. I loved my job. We loved going to the beach. The kids loved their school. You know, I would say if we're trying to pick the happiest period of our lives, all 5 of us that were in the family at the time, Lucy came a little later, but I think most of us would say that, this was a very happy time for us. We were celebrating being in another country and having this great experience that God had brought us to. So we anticipated it for 20 years, hoping to go on a posting to Australia. Then we prepared for it once we found out, because we had to get vaccinations and visas and all that stuff. Once we got there, we moved, we participated, we got settled in, we got a house, and then we basically spent the next 3.5 years celebrating for enjoying it. So that's probably one of the best celebratory stories that we have as a family, and I think probably all of my kids would agree that was a very good experience for them. To the extent that my daughter Victoria wants to actually immigrate to Australia. So yeah, she does. Yeah. Yes, Peter.
In Australia, is there any towns that you have to be aware of?
No, it's kind of like Canada in that there's parts of the big city like Sydney that are dangerous. If you're out late at night, you could end up in trouble. You have to be as careful as you would be in Canada, but very similar. Like very laid back. They have a great sense of humor. They're very friendly. They, especially in the smaller towns, like Canada, right? You go to a small town, everyone will come and after you. Big cities, it's like any big city, right? You just have to be careful. So, yeah, it's a great experience. We loved it. Yeah, I miss it. I'd love to go back one day. So that's Australia.
Well, if I ever go there myself,
If you go, you got to go for like 3 months, okay? It's trying to, someone says, oh, have you ever been to Canada? Yeah, when did you go? Well, I went for a week.
That's not
A
enough.
week? You can't even get across Toronto in a week, come on. Right? So, if you go to Australia, you kind of got to spend 3 or 4 months there, and you really need to travel around, because like Canada, it's spread all over the place. I'll go back one.
Why do you have that?
So, in Canada, like we have, we have the border with the U.S., and virtually all the big population centers are along the border, right? So, Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto, Montreal, we're all within 100 miles. I think like 85% of the Canadian population lives within 100 miles of the U.S. border, right? 150 kilometers. In Australia, it's similar, but people live on the outside of the country. So you got Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Townsville, Darwin's way up here.
Have you ever
Virtually
been in the middle?
nobody lives in here
Have you ever been around in that
because
area?
it's just a desert. There's one community called Alice Springs, that's near a place called Ayers Rock, Mount Illaroo right here.
How about
That's the Big Red Rock. What?
Cooper?
Cooper Pedy?
Yeah.
Where do you see that?
Right there.
Cooper Pedy. Okay, that's a really cool place. That's where they mine opals. And the movie Mad Max 3, The Thunderdome, was filmed there. It looks like a moonscape. It's the most bizarre place you'd ever. And about 40% of the homes are in excavated opal mines.
Oh,
People
really?
live underground because it's so hot there. It's the only way to stay cool. Very cool place.
It's not open.
Opal, it's like a gemstone.
It's really hot there, but it's a really cool place.
It is. That's true. Yeah. It's good fun. All right. So like Canada, people are like they're spread out. They're not like a uniformly distributed population base. All right. So that's Canberra. Now we've been using an analogy to describe celebration, right?
Oh,
the
yeah.
analogy we used was this hockey team, which won the Stanley Cup in 1967.
I will say that Michael's probably jealous right now that you didn't use a Montreal Canadian.
Well, I gave Mike the opportunity last week, but he waived it for fear of being lynched or something. I don't know what the deal was. What happened, Mike? What happened there? Les Habitats, man. What's going on?
Jerry Price is upset.
Oh. Well, why? Is Montreal? I thought
He
they were
was
doing all
left
right.
at
Oh, there you go. They're doing okay. Hey.
he was left in net all day.
Oh,
Got
poor
4
guy.
goals scored on him.
Poor guy. He's only paid like $3 million.
Then he
a year.
got
Feels so bad
hooked and he
for him.
was upset
Yeah.
about being hooked.
It's terrible. Poor guy. Only get making $3 million a year or something. So Toronto Maple Leafs haven't won the Stanley Cup since 1967. So this is the 50th. We're coming into the 50th year now, not having won the Stanley Cup. And what I ask you to do is just stretch your imaginations a teeny weeny bit and imagine that they might win it this year. Okay? Just a
Fat
teeny weeny
chance.
bit.
My friend here, Bruce, he thinks he's going to win it in 5 years.
Okay.
And they're going to go into the playoffs at least next year.
Yeah.
That's
So
his
one thing they
predictions.
will win is the award for the most building phases. Okay? So every time I go, oh yeah, we're in a building phase now. We just fired the coach and 5 of the best players. Now we're in a building phase for another 5. Then they fired 4 more people. Yeah, we're just going into a building phase. We need a building phase. You know? Okay, stop building this team. It's been 50 years. Let's win a cup, you guys. Come on. I mean, I'm not even a hockey nut. I would love to see them win. All right. So let's say they make it to the Stanley Cup final. It's a best of 7. It's a nail biter. They go the whole 7 games. It's a tie game. We're in the 3rd period. There's 1 minute left to play. What's that young guy's name that scored 4 goals? He first.
Austin Matthews.
Austin Matthews puts the puck in the net of which team? What's that?
Well, the opposing team.
Yeah, but who would it be? Who's
Montreal.
Montreal
Could
Canadian.
be Montreal.
Okay, so let's say it's Montreal.
Yeah.
Puts the goal in.
Yeah.
Carey Price is crying now.
Yeah.
You know, he just blew it at the last minute of the game, and they win the Stanley Cup. Buzzer goes.
Balloons are going, the
What do you
lights are
think is
lit.
going to happen, people?
Everything.
What do you think's going to
What
happen?
happened in
The
Chicago?
fans are going to take off their coats and throw them on the ice.
Okay, yeah,
Or go
yeah.
crazy.
Or
Yeah,
get
people will go
drunk.
nuts, right? What do you think will happen in Montreal?
They'll go home and cry.
Be a riot. Yes, there'll be a riot, because there was the last time, right?
Some reps will be lynched.
Some will be lynched.
Toronto and Montreal will never meet in the Stanley Cup.
Hey,
Why?
I have a question
They're in the
for
same division.
Oh, okay,
I know
well, we
what's
got to
gonna happen
scrap
to
that. Who's the
referees.
next likely contender?
Chicago.
Chicago, okay, so it's the Blackhawks. Okay, yes.
I know what's going to happen with the 2 teams. If Toronto wins this year, they're both going to have a fight on the ice to get the cup.
Okay. What do you think? How do you think the fans will respond if Toronto fans if Toronto wins?
Oh, nuts.
People, I've actually seen videos of people getting in fights, the fans,
Yeah.
and there's been people who've been thrown out because it gets too crazy.
Okay.
I think it'll be the same thing as what happened in Chicago this year when the Cubs won.
And what happened?
Lots of parties.
Lots of parties, right? People will be celebrating, right? They'll be buying. I mean, you'll get 4 times the value of that shirt the next day, right? There will be tons of things, you know, Stanley Cup champions, 2016, 17. There'll be mugs. There'll be flyers. There'll like everything, banners, flags, pennants. Like people will go nuts, right?
Might even be a coin visit probably.
Yeah. Now,
Steve,
yeah.
the captain.
What's that?
Who's the captain?
I don't know. Who's the captain?
I don't know.
Who's the captain of that team, Chris?
There is no captain right now.
No, of this team.
In the
That one,
picture.
George Armstrong.
George Armstrong, there you go. There's your answer. This guy would know. I did meet a guy once who was actually at that game. The game they won. He actually was. You were at that game? No way.
Detroit.
Wow. How old would you have been? Are you allowed to tell us?
I can't remember.
Okay, okay. Wow, that's cool.
I was just going to say that. I was there with my dad. And
Wow. And what happened? What was it? I know, but like what happened? What happened in the ring when they won?
oh, the Gardens went crazy. I remember that.
Yeah,
I was just
yeah.
a little guy. Believe it or not, I was little.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Wow, that's what the other guy who I know told me as well. He said they just went crazy. So. Now, here's the thing. As good as that would be, right? What's going to happen a couple of months after? No. What's happening, Chris? Toronto's just won the Stanley Cup. It's now June. What's going on?
So get ready for them to play again.
Ah!
Start.
They're waiting for the second coming of the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? They will be, right? Look what happened to the Blue Jays. They won in 91 and 92, right? Back-to-back world champions, right? I guarantee you that no sooner will the dust be settled on the parties and the empty beer cans put away and the streamers tidied up than all the buzz in Toronto will be, wow, next year, we're going to win it twice. They're anticipating, and that's a good analogy for Christmas because the Israelites were anticipating the arrival of a Savior, who was Jesus. And he came, and he lived, and he was crucified, and he was resurrected, and he ascended into heaven. But before he left, he promised he would come back. So there's a second advent. And we're in year 1950, roughly, of the second advent. And that's a good analogy that you know, what happened if they won. Well, they can start looking for the next cup, because that season's finished, right? So everything's done. They're now going to look to the next season and see what happens. And that's sort of what happened with the Israelites. So there we go. That's a good analogy. Okay, thank you for your hockey feedback. George Armstrong said, right?
Their jerseys will go up quite a few bucks.
Oh, they sure would.
More.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I
And if you have a rookie card of any of the, you know, like it'll just go nuts, right? Yeah, keep those.
How much do you think the captain's card would be worth right now?
I have no idea. That's a good question. All right, so we have looked at this issue of celebration. What are some of the key points that came out of it? Bill?
Already hope.
Okay, there's hope. Absolutely, yeah. Very good. Yes, I love it.
Working together harder.
Okay, yep. Peter? Or Michael, sorry.
Prayer. So like there'll be prayer that they win.
Okay.
Prayer.
Okay, so the importance of prayer in the midst of celebration. That is a very interesting point. I like that. Yes.
He was very hoping that the Toronto Blue Jays was going to win the trophy this year.
Yeah, the pennant, but they didn't. Yeah. Okay, so we went through a bunch of phases, right? We went through anticipation, preparation, participation, like we're in the moment. So in the case of NHL Stanley Cup, you go to the games, right? Let's say there's 7 games, you go to all 7 games, you're participating in it, right? Especially if you're playing. And then there's this celebration thing when the thing actually happens. So we're going to look at today is what they did when this thing actually happened. So just as a bit of a review though, we have this timeline, right? So if we go back to kind of early history of man, we have the fall in the garden, Adam and Eve, and this causes a separation between God and man, because up to that point we were fully in God's presence. In fact, we're told in the Bible that after Adam and Eve sinned, they heard God's footsteps. That's how close they were to God. They could be in His presence, literally, in a physical sense. And then since then, oops, I'll go back. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Red button. There we go. Since then, the Old Testament tells us the seesawing back and forth, these Israelites trying to get reconciled to God and continually failing. So very early on in the Old Testament, you start to see prophecies like this one from Isaiah 7:14 saying, a Savior is going to come. Someone's going to come and fix this. And that's what happens with the birth of Jesus. But between the end of the writing of the Old Testament, which was the book of Malachi around 435 BC, and the birth of Jesus in around 4 to 6 BC, there's a 400-year gap where there's no prophecies and no writing. There's this big gap between there and Jesus' arrival. So Jesus is born, he lives, he dies, he's resurrected, and he promises that he's going to come back. The New Testament really picks up mostly with where Jesus was born and carries on through and describes future events. So that's the timeline we've been looking at over the last few weeks. So this week we're going to spend a bit more time on the far right of this spectrum. So to do that though, I want to show you a video, and it's a bit of a joke about the three kings. But it starts out with some other stuff that's totally irrelevant to the sermon, but it's pretty funny, so we're going to watch it anyway. Okay, you ready? Oh, hang on. Yeah.
Let's go on to a game called Scenes from a Hat. Before the show, we asked the audience to write down ideas for scenes that they want the performers to act out. We put the good ones in a hat, throw the crappy ones out, put the good ones in a hat. So we'll see how many they can act out for us, starting with difficult things to say with a straight face.
You really should call me forward more.
I didn't mean that thing about the big bump on my That's a good one. Announcements made over Hell's PA system.
Attention, attention. Would the owner of a Pinto license... Tickets for Yanni on sale in the main room. Tickets for Yanni.
Clean up on aisle 5. Rejected gift ideas that the 3 wise men considered. Actually, there were not 3 wise men, it was just wise men, but rejected gift ideas that the wise men considered.
Mary, we have brought this. A PlayStation 2 for the... You can't give him a pork roast.
It's a chia pet.
The young Messiah will derive hours of entertainment from this, the singing bass. Put it over there. Are you ready?
Water skis.
With these motivational tapes by Tony Robbins. They call it a song.
The one guy there with the girl.
Drew Carey?
Oh,
Who's the guy that's hanging with the girl?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he does the whole
What
is it? He does
Wayne Brady?
It's like a gift show type thing. You go
I don't know.
Make a deal.
Make a
Let's
deal.
make a deal.
Make a deal. Okay.
The guy that was in the red shirt with
Yeah.
the older hair, is that Bill Murray?
No, it's not.
No.
I don't know his name, but it's not Bill Murray.
Call him something.
Oh, not great.
So anyways, Now you've seen an example of some not appropriate gifts, gifts ideas rejected by the wise men. Oh, by the way, I had a great announcement for hell. Are you ready? Attention, all newcomers. You're reminded this is a no smoking area.
That's good.
Another would be free air conditioner announcement and go, kidding! Okay, so those are extraneous humor. They were not related to the topic. The piece I really wanted to focus in on was the rejected gift ideas of the three wise men. So who can tell me the story about the wise men? Peter?
We went to King first.
You went to King Herod. Very good, yes.
And he wanted us back to tell him where Jesus was.
Why?
Because they wanted to kill him.
He did, yeah, Herod did, right?
Yeah.
The wise men did not know this, right?
No, they didn't know that.
That's right. Okay, what else do we know? How many wise men were there?
4. I heard there were 4. But there's 3 that showed.
Mike?
Well, they're referred to 3 because there's 3 gifts. But
Right.
generally, there could have been
More.
a
Could have been a whole bunch.
ton. And there generally would have been a ton because A, they traveled from really, really far away, and it wasn't really safe for just 3 people to randomly travel on a...
Actual photo. No, just kidding. Taken 2 BC. Yeah, so we don't know how many. Mike's totally right. We often think 3 because of the 3 gifts. That there's no specific statement as to how many there were, right? There could have been a dozen, or we don't know.
Well, because it's unsafe to travel, there would have to be multiple.
Yeah. Where did they come from?
A land far, far away.
East. So what's east of Jerusalem?
India, Persia.
I need help, Doug. Yeah, very good answer. 2 big ones are?
Persia.
Yeah, so the thinking is probably Persia or modern day Iraq,
How about
somewhere in
Jamaica?
that area. There are 2 main trade routes that go into Israel. One is down south,
How about Egypt?
and then, no, that's west.
Oh.
And then one is through modern day Syria and Damascus from the north. So what we think happened was they came from the south, went into Jerusalem, up to Bethlehem. They were warned by an angel not to go back the way they came and talk to Herod, so that they went maybe north, the long way around. And of course, no one had text or Facebook, so they couldn't tell. No one could report them in, right?
There's that
They're
spot,
long gone.
spot.
Yeah, spot, yeah. Couldn't pick them up.
It sucked because you're riding
Okay.
you're riding on your cam wheel. Is this the turn? Are we supposed to go? No, okay.
There is no turn, it's one route.
Yeah.
You don't turn. Turn
Yeah.
the desert on either side.
So how old was Jesus when these guys came to visit? Because this,
And if an
I think 1 or 2.
I shouldn't walk in front of the screen, because this little thing here would suggest they were on the scene.
Wasn't he just a baby?
It was around 2. Didn't they want to kill any baby that was around?
They were very good, Sarah. Yeah. So when Herod found out that Jesus was going to be born the Messiah, he gave instructions that all boys, all male children, 2 and under, in and around Bethlehem to be killed. These are his own kids, like his own people. He's a Jewish king. Now, that doesn't mean, though, that Jesus was 2. He could have just done that as a buffer, right, just to make sure. He could have been 6 months, he could have been 6 days, he could have been whatever. Yeah?
The Feast of the Epiphany would be 12 days after Christmas, suggesting he'd be 12 days old.
Not necessarily.
Just throwing it out there.
So, I've heard different arguments. You guys suggest it's entirely plausible that they were there within a few days. Because the understanding is they would have stayed in Bethlehem for about 40 days before they headed back to Nazareth. If that's the case, then they would have had to come in within that 40-day window. The passage says they were in a house, not in a manger, but it's possible that Jesus was born in a manger and then they moved into a house when space became available later. There's a lot of discussion about it. There's no definitive answer. That's the bottom line. Jesus was an infant, or a toddler. He was very young, and this group of guys shows up from somewhere east of, Israel, and brings them 3 extremely valuable items. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh were the 3 gifts. Extremely valuable items, right? No one's done that for me, but if you want to, I'd be really excited to get gold, frankincense, and myrrh this Christmas. That would be awesome. Okay, so that's good. So we got a bit of a perspective on this. What's interesting is it doesn't say they're Jewish. In fact, it's very implausible that they are. They were looking for a sign in the stars, and back in those days, you know, science, medicine, and astronomy were all kind of one field, right? You had a bunch of smart guys who basically studied stuff, and they would read the stars and look for significant events and so on. They were more into astrology, perhaps, than
it's a mathematical like prediction of where things
are going to be. And they were looking for a star, a significant incident would be represented by that star, and so they followed this star to Bethlehem. So that's a bit of the background. And these guys, then they disappear. We don't hear anything more about them for the rest of the Bible. They're gone. That's it. They have that little passage, and then there's no more mention made of them. And what's that? No, they actually, because they went a different route, Herod wasn't able to catch them. Yeah, so they got away. And of course, Jesus was saved because what happened with him was his parents fled to Egypt. So he was brought up in Egypt for a while, and some people have suggested that the gold, frankincense, and myrrh would have helped subsidize them during that period that they were living outside of their home. Yes, Mike.
Can I interject
Yes, absolutely.
a small possible theory as to their whereabouts?
Yeah.
The Jews were taken into captivity by Assyria and by modern-day Babylon. And it was at that point where many Jewish people were put in charge of leading the country under Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel, for example, was one of those people. The theory is that under his tutelage, because he was teaching the scientific mind at Daniel, the Jewish prediction of Messiah was given to them, and so then they waited, knowing that, studying the stars, and when the signs appeared, they already knew the Jewish.
The seed had already been planted.
The seed, the knowledge of the prediction of the prophecy was already there.
And there's several periods of captivity where the Israelites were right out, so there were several windows where that could have happened. So that's good. So bottom line is they had some sort of indication that something big was going to happen. They followed it, which would have taken months to do, by the way. The trek that they would have followed, taken months to do. Made their way to Jerusalem, found out where this Messiah was supposed to be born in Bethlehem, made their way there, worshipped him, and then took off because they've been warned by angels to go a different direction. Yes, Peter.
Wasn't Jesus' father a carpenter?
He was indeed. Yep, that's right. So they're basically poor people, right? I mean, they're subsistence living, they're just commoners, they have no special status. They would not have merited under the rules
and
of that time.
The women won't work back then, right? They would stay at home.
Raise kids and domestic duties. Yeah. Okay, so that's the wise men. So to put things into perspective then, what we have is the birth of Jesus. Sometime very, very, very shortly after, these wise men from the east come to worship him. There's about a 30-year period before he starts his ministry, and then he's involved in ministry for about 3 years. And then he's crucified, he's resurrected, and then there's this promise of the second coming. Now, one of the passages that tells us about the wise men is from Matthew 2, 11 to 12. I'll let you take a read through that, and we'll just talk briefly about it. Okay, so they worshipped Christ and gave him these gifts, and then they were warned in a dream not to return to Herod, so they went a different way. And it's certainly plausible, based on our understanding of the trade routes and so on of the day, that they could have done that. That would not have been hard. Yeah.
What's the word? Frankincense.
Frankincense and myrrh.
What's that mean?
So frankincense and myrrh are both gum residues from a tree. One is used for incense, and the other is used for embalming bodies for burial. Which seems like a kind of weird gift to give to kids. It's like, Merry Christmas, here's a funeral plot. You know? Or here's a free ticket to the crematorium. You know?
That's
so people have tried to analyze those gifts, like why those gifts. So gold, you could say, well, royalty, you know, like most of the
gold.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, is it frankincense or myrrh? Which one is the embalming? Myrrh is embalming? Okay, she would know, she's been there. So myrrh is the embalming, and frankincense is like an aromatic fragrance sort of generating substance. which often in Scripture, as Mike pointed out a few weeks ago, has the significance of prayer. So when you burn incense, it sort of was an analogy, if you will, a representation of prayer or communication with God. So people have tried to draw sort of some understanding of whether or not there was particular significance to the gifts. It may not be that there is. It might just simply be that they provided them the cash reserves they needed to live in Egypt for 5 years until they could come back to their own country. Don't know. Lots of questions we don't know the answers to. All right, so that's from Matthew. So I got a question for you. What evidence do we see in that passage of celebration in the story of the wise men? Okay, so they actually have brought something to the party, so to speak, right?
Yes.
So when you celebrate somebody's birthday, what do you often do? You bring a gift, right? Why do you bring a gift? Yeah, right? It's an expression of love, right? Well, if it's a good gift, right? Okay, where's Juanita? Juanita, can I tell the toilet story? Okay, good. All right, so...
Do a caveat?
Yeah.
We were really, really poor.
I was going to explain that. Okay, let me tell the story, okay? It's a good story. So, back in the 90s, I was a captain. Juanita was at school studying. We didn't have a lot of money. We had 2 kids. We were poor church mice. We bought this house. It was like a fixer-upper, and I was fixing it up all the time. And at one point, Juanita said, we need a new toilet in the bathroom. She wanted a new toilet. And I just, you know. So anyways, that February, my birthday, I got a toilet. And I was like, oh, this is the lamest birthday gift ever.
What a shit.
Oh, yeah. So I probably should have glued a bow on and left it there. Get back.
You look at that lady every day.
Yeah, you are an evil man. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. I didn't even get to bring it with me when I left. That's the sad thing.
Toilet, birthday gift. Wait, I can do them both at the same time.
So normally, birthday gifts are an expression of love, right? And affection and thoughtfulness. Normally, okay? Yeah. So that's good. That's fantastic. What else do we read in this story?
If it was like a platinum or a gold.
Yeah, if it was gold, that would have been cool.
Yeah, straight down.
What else in this story tells us that they were celebrating the
Did they tell other people that they were going to do this, or did they just go and or did other people go with them?
Well, they probably had.
I just wanted to know.
I mean, this is just a fictionalized depiction, right? They probably had people in their party with them simply because on those trade routes there were lots of thieves and robbers. Like you had to go with a protection party or no people, right? If you're if you're going to survive. So there were probably a larger party than 3, but we don't know. Like I don't know who else was involved. Yeah, Mike.
And they were large enough party to get noticed by
the king. Yeah, they came in.
Other, dignitaries or.
Yeah, they weren't just tradesmen coming in for yet another caravan run into Jerusalem.
This was
There's something different about
them. Like a royal caravan kind of.
Yeah. So in those days, it would have been quite normal if you were, as a representative of another kingdom, to bring a note or some sort of introduction, like a letter of. Authorization saying that you're a representative. Maybe they had that, we don't know. But we don't know what we're not told. So. Okay, so what do you think about this trip?
Long trip.
Long trip. At least a couple of months probably each way. So that's a pretty huge commitment, right? To do that.
Would they be eaters? Could they go the way?
What's that?
Would they be eaters, the 3 on front?
We're not sure whether we're not told whether they had guides or they just followed the star, because that was their main guide.
They had the star supposedly. And
yeah, and there were only really 2 main routes to get in, so they probably just followed the star west, right till they got to the east. But just the fact, I don't know about you, but like so I went to Australia, right? We had to do a lot of preparation to go. Like we had to pack all our stuff up, we had to put our car in storage, we had to, clean the house out we're moving out of, we had to fly to Australia to find a place to live, get our kids enrolled in school. Like, there was a lot of work involved in getting ready for that celebration, right? Like, to be there and live that. A lot of preparation. Same for these guys, right? I mean, a couple of months trip, it would have been a long time in the planning. It's a big chunk of their lives, right? Big chunk of time, the commitment they've made to actually make this trip to go find this Messiah. So that, to me, is a bit of a reflection of, like, they've been, presumably, if what Mike says is true, that they have this story carried on through the line, that this has been centuries in the making. right? This is like they're really getting ready to celebrate here, and they're going to make a big commitment to do it.
I wonder how they figured out what types of gifts to bring.
Good question. I don't know. I mean, all three of those things we know were very valuable commodities in that time.
Yeah, in that economy.
In that economy.
Didn't his father make the manger?
We don't know.
Oh,
Not
okay,
told.
I thought that
Well, he was a carpenter.
yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
I thought Jesus was a carpenter. That could make sense.
Yeah, he grew up to be a
Yeah. So the manger is like the stall they were in.
Yeah,
I
where
think
did
you're
all
not
the
probably
cows
about the
come
cradle,
from?
right?
Cradle,
Yeah,
yeah.
cradle. Could have, I don't know. We're not told.
See?
Yep.
Where did all the cows come from? And
Oh, did they bring milk?
the shepherd, the sheep?
I don't have no idea. They're just, it was an agricultural economy. They're all over the place probably. So,
Right.
yeah. Okay. So they're bringing gifts. They're making a big time commitment. They worshiped Jesus when they actually got there,
Yeah, they
right?
went down to
And they presented the gifts. And here's the other thing that tells me that that reflects celebration is they were told in a dream not to go back to Herod. Now that Herod had told them, come back to me and tell me where the child is so I can go worship him. Now the temptation might have been to say, well, I don't want to listen to that dream. That's silly. Herod wants to see this kid. I should also, create an opportunity for Herod to come worship this kid. Now, if they'd done that.
A sense of a feeling of something or something.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
So what they did was they actually
Something.
disobeyed a king.
Can they be punished? They could be punished.
They
for
could have
that?
been punished. They could have been killed. So to me, the part of their celebration of this momentous event is reflected in their obedience in not doing what Herod said and following what God said.
I
You
think
see what I'm saying
they
here?
did the right way. I think
Right?
they did the right way.
They did the right thing, yeah. Okay. So if we look on this timeline, hang on. There we go. So Matthew 2, 42 to 44. So you too must keep watch, for you don't know the day your Lord is coming. Understand this. The homeowner knew exactly when a burglar was coming, he would keep watch and not permit his house to be broken into. And you must also be ready all the time, for the Son of Man will come when least expected. This is the second coming, right? First coming was as baby Jesus in Bethlehem in a manger. But Jesus, throughout his ministry, there's at least 15 verses where he specifically addresses this issue of his return. There are other ones where it's maybe not as clear, but it certainly seems that's what he's talking about. But there's at least 15 where he explicitly states he's coming back. This is the second coming. Now we don't know when this is. He didn't give a timeline. In the disciples' day, we think one of the reasons why the Bible didn't get written sooner was they thought he was coming back in their lifetime. There was no urgent need to write all this down and transfer it from generation to generation because there would be no more generations. But as time went on, I think they began to realize, you know what? Jesus might not have meant during our lifetime. We need to document the story of his life and the story of the church, like in Acts and all these other books, and get this written down so it can be passed faithfully on generation to generation. So now we're in a 1950-year period of Advent, of anticipation and preparation. And eventually, at some point in the future, and maybe during our lifetime, it may not, Jesus said he will come back. And that's what this passage speaks to. But his main point here is this, is we need to be prepared. And the wise men give us an example of ways we can be prepared. So, giving of our time, talents, treasures, and teamwork. So those are the four sort of things that we use to describe membership at Catholic Church. It's reflective of you being a member. You give your time. They gave up months of their life. You give your talents. They used their understanding of the stars and so on, and the prophecy, to actually set out on a huge life journey, probably the biggest journey of their life, to find the Messiah. So that was a bit of their talents, their wisdom. They used their treasures, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, three very valuable commodities. And they did it in a teamwork setting, not only in the sense that they traveled together, but when they were spoken to by God in a dream to not go back the way they did, they followed that. They were in, if you will, working in harmony with God, not the parents. So we see those four characteristics in the wise men as part of the celebration of the arrival of the Messiah. And those are the things I want to leave with you as you head into Christmas, because guess what? There's lots of things they're going to chew into your time over Christmas that have nothing to do with Christ, and actually may not be all that good for you. Okay, number one. Number two, lots of things are going to chew into your treasures over Christmas. They may have nothing to do with Christmas and may not be very good for you. Okay? Same thing for your talents. Now, all of you, everyone in this room has some talent in something. Some people might be woodworking, some people it's cooking, some it's their wonderful, warm sense of humor. Okay? And part of what we want to do over Christmas is use those talents in an appropriate way. And finally, teamwork. And that means looking out for each other, especially over the holidays, because a lot of people are lonely, they're away from home. Maybe they just need someone to hang out with or go to dinner with or whatever. So there's opportunities for us this Christmas even to practice some of those things. So your challenge then, if you're a follower of Christ, well, the challenge for everyone, read Matthew 2. That's where these passages came from, about the wise men. That whole chapter really speaks about that whole episode. I encourage you to read it. If you're a follower of Christ, and ask you this question, is there an area of your life where you need to be celebrating God more? And sometimes that's hard to do when you're going through difficult times, but you may be going through it. But I encourage you to actively seek for that silver lining. So I told you in the past, Chris and I mentor together, and one of the things we do is journal. So I've been, every couple of days I make journal entries. What's been really cool is to go back. We started a year and a half ago. So a few weeks ago, I started reading the entries from a year and a half ago. And I say, Lord, I pray for this. Lord, I pray for that. And now what I've done is I've gone through and I put a check mark and I highlighted all the answered prayers that God has done up to, I think, February of this year, 2016. And it's just been amazing to watch all the stuff God has done in that time frame. So I encourage you to be celebrating God more and what God has done in your life. Now, if you're not a follower of Christ, I ask you this question. What's stopping you from celebrating what God has done for you, which is to provide His Son, Jesus Christ, as a sacrifice for your sins? And in the Christian faith, we say you need to do three things. You need to believe that Jesus was who He said He was, God with us, Emmanuel. You need to repent of your sin, which is why Christ died for you. And then you need to begin to follow Christ. And you saw the slide that I reviewed that Mike put up last week, the sevenfold way of following Jesus. Those are 7 different things that would indicate you're actually doing that. We're here to help you do that. And finally, I'd say, celebrate. You have a chance to experience Emmanuel, God with us. That is the promise of Scripture. That is what's so uniquely important, I think, about the Christian faith and what we're celebrating as we go into Christmas. So that's today's talk. I wanted to look at this idea of celebration. I'd encourage you to go through Christmas to ask yourself, are you celebrating the right things? There's an area of your life where you need to be celebrating God more, whether it's in your time, talents, treasures, or teamwork, working with others. Through Christmas, we learn the Christmas story that God is with us. Emmanuel, that's the story. Christ ascended into heaven, but He's told us that His Holy Spirit is here. So God is still with us in a very tangible way. Mustn't forget that. He didn't just abandon us and leave us. So we can anticipate and celebrate the promises of Jesus Christ's second coming as well. God truly and fully will be with us again. That's the promise. As we head into New Year's, I'm going to go back to a topic I introduced you to a little earlier this fall. It's a passage entitled The Armor of God. Who was here when I had Lucy in the lumberjack outfit?
Oh, yeah. That was
Okay,
fun.
right? Yeah. So we'll get more Lucy appearances later. We're going to work through each of the pieces of armor over time, starting on the 8th of January. So that's the first session we'll do in January. Bill, you had your hand up earlier. Was there something you wanted to say that I missed?
I was just going to refer back to when they said for us, the Lord will come at His second coming when we least expect it.
Yep.
And those 3 words is believe and repent of our sins and follow. It's
Yep.
the only preparation we would need in order to be prepared for that.
Yep. Yep. Now, if you look at the follow piece, right? There's a lot of dimensions to that, right? It's like you and I talked earlier about, Bible reading, prayer life, witnessing to others, helping other people grow in their walk, mentoring, all those. There's many dimensions to the follow piece. So believing is relatively straightforward. You either believe it or you don't. Repenting is pretty straightforward. You just acknowledge the sins you committed and seek forgiveness. The follow piece is the thing that runs through the whole rest of your life, right? And it's the one that has so many dimensions to it. But that's why we exist as a church, is to help people work through those. But yes, those are the only 3 things you need to do. And the message here is this: don't put it off. A lot of people go, well, I'm not sure about this Christian faith thing. I'm just going to wait a week. Well, you can get hit by a bus tomorrow. Like, even if the second coming doesn't happen, your second coming might. Okay? All right? Your appointment with the Lord could be a little sooner than mine. All right? Or mine might be sooner than Chris's. So basically, the message is don't wait. You snooze, you lose. That's basically the message here. Okay? That's a good question. Yeah. Don't wait. All right, we're going to close in prayer. We have chili on, so please stick around. We'd love you to do that. Lord, we thank you for our time together today. Thank you for today's discussion. I ask everyone here today just to focus on what we ought to be celebrating at this time of year. And it's not 50% BOGO sales at Walmart or Costco, as appealing as that is. So we thank you for you, Jesus, our Lord and Savior, who has allowed us to be reconciled to God, to literally experience God with us, Emmanuel. Thank you for the soup or chili that was provided today. We look forward to our time of fellowship this afternoon and also getting back together again into the year in your name. Amen. So just a reminder, men's hockey Friday night, right? Maple Leafs at St. Louis Ribs. If you need a lift, speak to me. We'll work it out. And there's a games night here on Tuesday the 27th. At what time did we say? It's on the slide. Heidi, what time does that games night start? 6 or 6?
6 to 9.
Heidi will pull it up. No, that's games night. Yeah, there we are.
6:30.
6:30. So 6:30 here, and we'd love to have you come if you can join us. God bless you all. Thank you.